Technology for the veteran employment space, not websites, right? We've developed technology that helps veterans find jobs. We've built an MOS translator. Everybody here familiar with the term MOS? Not everybody's Army, right? But so we built a translator. Now, how many people think translators don't work? Because I don't think they work, the ones that are out there. And the reason why they don't work is because most of the translations that are available were written in 1998. They've never been updated since 1998, if any of you can imagine. The Department of Labor and the government hasn't gotten around to them. So the translations are outdated and old. Many of your MOSs, if you're in the Army or in the Navy, have been repurposed or reused in the last 30 years. None of that's reflected in any of the translations. Any of the jobs that many of you would probably want in cybersecurity or in web development, none of that existed in 1998. So it's not in the translator. That's why usually when you use those systems, they tell you should be a police officer or a construction worker. Those are the only two things that match. That's the only thing left. It's not because they didn't try back then, it's just they haven't tried since then. And what we've done is updated that translator. There's an article that, so Google, just as an example, Google uses the free translator that the Department of Labor provides everybody, the one that's outdated by 30 years, and we have our own custom one. Well, we were put up in a Pepsi Taste Test Challenge by We Are the Mighty and a couple other military publications, and we blew them out of the water in every single category because we're really focused on some of the new skills, some of the responsibilities you had in the military. But the reality is if we stopped at the MOS, it would still suck. Excuse my language. It would still be an ineffective translator because your MOS or your rating or your job in the military only tells this much of the story, right? Like that tells the story of day one. Where I think we tell more of the story is in your rank. I think I can understand a lot more about your responsibilities, a lot more about what your skill sets are, a lot more about what the military might have thought of you as well by your rank. You know, somebody who is, let's just say in the Army, I'm going to use Army terms, someone who was an 88 mic in the Army, a truck driver. If they were an E7, you shouldn't be getting the same job who was the same MOS but was an E3. Different levels of responsibilities, different level of work, different level of experience. All of that matters to people in HR, right? Like if you talk to someone in human resources, they want to know what your last job was. They don't want to know what you majored in college. They want to know what were your last responsibilities. That's how they hire you. So we've included rank in our translator. All of these things you'll find here for free to do using the system we built here. But I want it to be clear that we built technology specifically for veteran employment, for the nonprofit, for the counselor, for the veteran family, resources and tools that just don't exist anywhere because nobody's ever thought to build them. So we'll go through them now. First one, we talked about building a resume. So you click here, update your resume. It's a pretty simple form. Your first name, last name, address, a summary about yourself. We give you some helper text on how to write that summary, what you should expect there, even some samples. You click on the next page, military experience. You can add multiple enlistments or multiple MOSs, but you put in your MOS, your rank. You'll see here, I'm going to delete this one just so you can see what happens at the bottom. I'm going to put in 88 mic again. You'll notice here, this blue box popped up. You've updated your MOS. Would you like to change it? Click yes. And now we give you an automatic translation that's written in English that tells somebody what you did in the military as opposed to providing it with abbreviations, acronyms, weapon systems that usually don't help anybody who's looking at your application for a job, right? Most of these people are civilians. They don't understand any of those terms or those abbreviations. We've removed all of that. You can then start adding skills and certifications that you learned from this job. These are all pre-filled, things that you can select from. You can also add free text, but these are things that are matched, right? People are matching based off of these jobs. These are all bullet points that appear under your job. Any certifications you've earned, military schools, any billets you've earned, things like that are all accounted for here in your resume. They all are able to be added to your resume. What's cool about that is we're a matching technology as well, right? We match you on jobs based off your MOS, based off of your rank, based off of your education, based off of the military schools you had, the billets you've acquired. Really every aspect of your military experience we take into consideration when making matches and recommending jobs. You move on to work history. This one's very straightforward and similar. Again, you can add different skills from a drop-down or add free text. Any certifications, now these are civilian certifications, things like OSHA, things like project management, PMP, things like that. If you've earned any of these, also part of our matching algorithm. Move on to education. You can add whatever education you have, skills and certifications. These are additional skills and certifications you want to appear on your resume. and then you hit resumes. You'll notice here I have several different versions of my resume saved. Maybe I'm applying for a job in construction, and I'm also applying for a job as a driver. 2 different resumes, 2 different types. You can save 2 different resumes. But what you want to do is hit generate resume. You're going to get 3 different formats of resumes to pick from. You can pick it as a Word doc or a PDF. You can also do a federal resume. If you click federal resume, that's just going to take you to answer a few more questions so that we can complete your federal resume. What's important as well in all of this process is to keep in mind that these resumes you can also upload a resume. So does anybody already have a resume written? So I would take your resume, upload it into the system. What that's going to do is it's going to pre-fill all of the data that's in our database so that we can recommend jobs with your pre-filled resume. But what's cool about it is it's also going to scan your resume and see if there's any issues with it. How do I know if there's any issues with it? So when you apply for a job online or apply for a job at a company, typically you're applying for a job online, right? You click the job, apply, you upload your resume. Those systems where you upload your resumes are called applicant tracking systems. They're digital tools that read your resume, right? They parse your resume to look for information, and then they fill the resume, the sheet that the recruiter is going to look at, right? So nobody's actually seeing your physical resume. They're seeing the data that's on your resume. A lot of times when you go to resume workshops or somebody's coaching you on how to write a resume, they're not taking the format into consideration that a computer's reading it and not a human being. So sometimes your resume is formatted incorrectly. You might put your address in the wrong spot or your phone number in the wrong spot. All of those things are critical. The system doesn't pick it up. So if you upload a resume into our system, we'll tell you if it's formatted improperly because we're talking to all of these other providers and we know if your resume is going to work with them or not. Other features that we've had available for users, one of the things, once you complete your resume, you'll notice that you get a public profile. Why this is cool and why I brought it up, you notice your public profile now exists as a QR code. So you don't have to walk around with resumes to job fairs. You don't have to even, if you meet somebody who's an employer, you don't have a resume with you. What are the chances you would, right? And you're like, oh man, I want to get you my resume. All you have to do is open your account, log into your account, go to your profile, your resume is a QR code. So you're able to scan that to anybody you want in real time, go get it, apply for jobs in real time. It's really an attempt to update and modernize the veteran employment space. A lot of times we focus on the old school, the in-person stuff. The problem is most employers don't. Most employers don't hire you on the spot at a job fair the way they used to in the 80s or 90s. You have to apply online. To apply online, you have to compete digitally, and that's why we built this system. The next step that I want to show you is job training. So a lot of times we talk about veteran experiences and what they brought from the military, leadership qualities, organizational skills, things like that. A lot of times they're intangible. And employers, unless they're really adept, again, think of it, they're civilians. You might be the only veteran they've ever talked to when they're interviewing. So they don't really know all of the lingo that we talk about when talking about veteran employment. So you have to give them something that's tangible. You have to give them things that are tangible many times. So we have a training library, over 300 courses available, 200 of them available in Spanish. Some of them are soft skill courses. Some of them are more technical, like PMP, project management, how to use Slack for business, web development, different languages in web development, but also things like putting on a webinar. Surprisingly, those are some of the courses that employers like the most, making sure that you know how to use Zoom or webinars. They assume that because you're in the Army or whatever, you've never used a computer. Right? That's pretty stupid. Because reality is, how many people in here are over the age of 35? All right, so I'm 44, and I was around when computers were basically invented, the personal computer. I haven't done anything but a computer. I started a technology company, right? So it's kind of stupid to assume that anybody that age or younger doesn't know how to use a computer, doesn't know how to use Microsoft Word, but it's just preconceived notions. And these training courses that we have help eliminate those, because they're not 10-week courses, they're not 2-week courses, they're hour and a half, 2.5-hour courses. It really is my opportunity to demonstrate to the employer that you all do have many of these skills. You are skilled in this. And it's been working great. Because one of the two things that happen, a lot of times employers will post jobs in our system, and then they can go through our library, those 300 courses, and they can recommend any one of the courses that are available there for you all to take. So it opens the door for people to apply for jobs. This, HR representative at a company in say, Nassau County, never met a veteran, never talked to a veteran before, sees that you have all these skills and certifications from the training courses you took from us. You're skilled in the Microsoft Office suite, you know how to use Slack, you know how to put on a webinar, all these things appear on your resume automatically, and they're like, okay, great. You know why? Because their CEO told them, we want to hire veterans this Veterans Day. Because I'm just going to be completely honest with you, that's usually how these things go. Employers will say, it's Memorial Day, let's hire 10 veterans. It's Veterans Day, let's hire 5 veterans, put out a press release. Well, you know, I fight really hard to make sure that doesn't happen on a daily basis, but on the flip side, I want to make sure you're the guy. I want to make sure you're the girl that gets hired during those hot times to hire people, hire veterans. It's just the reality of this field. Again, all these courses are free as well to take. And then ultimately, I think finally, I want to talk about searching for a job. Right, so when you search for a job, you can search by a keyword, or you can search by MOS. Now, currently, all of the jobs on this site, and the reason why I mentioned before that we build all these other sites, I don't know why that's all of the jobs that are on this site are City of New York jobs, like literally working for the Department of Veterans Affairs, the Department of Sanitation, right? We built it for them to attract more veterans. So every job you're gonna see here is gonna be a city job, right, for the government. But if you scroll to the bottom of this page, you'll see our network of sites. These are different sites we build out for different veterans organizations, different veterans programs. And in many of these other sites, you'll see a collection of every job. So there's a large network of employers around the country, a large network of employers here in the community, a lot of nonprofits, a lot of government agencies, all using the same software. Why is that important? So you don't have multiple logins. Any account you created today is going to work across the entire system. You're going to be able to work with any of the employers in the system. There's close to 7,000 employers, 6 million jobs in the system. We get 50,000 new veterans every single month using it. Close to 80% are employed after 2 months because they're using the technology and services that we've created and built here. What's additionally important beyond searching for jobs, right? So if you're searching for a government job, that's fine. You're going to come here. But if you're looking for a private sector job, you can go to any one of those other sites that we talked about. There's a site here for the City of New York called Empire Vets that we're actually bringing as a part of a partnership. I'll bring that up. So there's another site that's here available in the city that you can search private sector jobs. The account you just created for the department just now will work here too. Same login, same everything. The information's the same, just the jobs that are featured are slightly different because these are private sector jobs as opposed to the government jobs. Now, we looked at searching for jobs. Now, everybody gets a dashboard too, right? When you create your account, everybody gets a user dashboard. Under user dashboard, you get to tell me several things. A, where do you live? B, what's your job interests? These are drop down of different career industries and categories that you can select as many of them as you want. And then you're also going to tell me other needs. This is one of the things that I think is critically important because I recognize that a lot of times if you're looking for work, there may be other things happening in your life. And it's pretty annoying to deal with one organization who's helping you with your housing issue, another organization that's helping you with your claim, and a different person who's helping you with your job. Like I said, I've been doing it for 20 years, I run a nonprofit, and I know what some of the frustrations are, what some of the limitations are. That's why in this system now, you tell me what your other needs are. Like, I need food assistance. This came up during COVID all the time. I need resources for spouses. I'm a military spouse. I need mental health care, legal, benefits, any one of these things. And there's a whole list of drop downs you can pick from. It's not limited to that. Any one of these things, we're going to pull local resources that are available to you in your community. So if you live in the Bronx, I'm not going to give you something in Queens. I'm going to find you something in the Bronx. If you live in Brooklyn, I'm going to get you something in Brooklyn. Staten Island, I'm going to get you something in Staten Island. Because ultimately, one of the things that a lot of these government resources take for granted, right? It's maybe 6 miles away. Like my office is in Newark, New Jersey. That's 6 miles away from where we are right now. But it also took me 2.5 hours to get here this morning. So it's a Saturday, right? So it's not just it's in New York or it's across the river, no big deal, go get some help. That's just not a smart system. That's not something that's thinking through. I want to find you something down the street. I want to find you something down the block. There are programs galore in the city of New York. You just got to find them. We have a curated list that shows you all of those resources. So as you see, we'll start here on the first page. It shows you different jobs that are recommended to you based off of your MOS and rank here in the city. But notice I asked for benefits navigation. Well, I'll bring back all the organizations in the area, including the VA, that provide you with benefits navigation. You can chat with them if they're online. Saturday, so not many people are online, but there's a chat button where you can ask real life questions. They send a representative. If you're in mental health, same idea. You're going to click on mental health. You're going to see the different organizations and the different partners that are available in the local community, down the street from you, not across the river, not across the state lines, down the street. Same thing with employment. If you need additional resources other than the jobs that are available, here are some organizations that we would partner with. Edge for Vets would obviously be one of the ones listed here if you're looking for some additional resources for employment, if you're looking for a mentor. Resources for spouses. Again, anything you've selected, we find you the programs that are available in your community. So, if you think about what we're able to do as you're transitioning, we like to touch every single aspect of a veteran's transition. If you're looking for work, we'll help you search for a job. If you're looking to build a resume, we'll build you the resume. If you need mental health resources, we'll connect you with mental health resources. If you need a mentor, we'll help you find a mentor. Food assistance, we'll help you find food assistance. My objective and my goal is this. As a guy who ran a veterans nonprofit, I know that for a veteran to come seek help at a nonprofit, you have to be very close to rock bottom. It's not easy. I wouldn't do it either. I've never sought help at a nonprofit. It's not easy to pick yourself up and say, I need charity, right? You have to be pretty close to the bottom. And my thought is, well, there are thousands of veterans every single day who aren't at the bottom. They're on their way. They need help. And they can find that help if they were to be able to provide it online, if that service was available. And that's what we're all about. And the proof is kind of in the numbers. My nonprofit, on our busiest month, we would see 300 people walking to our charity. VetConnectPRO averages close to 9,000 a month. I was just talking to the commissioner right now outside, because we were talking about how great the turnout was today, and I pulled up the analytics of VetConnect of what was on the site right now. There were double the number of people on the site than there were here in person, who are still getting this access, still getting these resources. And that's what we want to focus on, is we want to make sure that this stuff is available to you 24/7, all the time. It doesn't have to be a special event put on by the Mets. It's fun that it is, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be something at Yankee Stadium on Veterans Day. It's fun that it is, but it doesn't have to be, because you might need help August 15th, right? It's not Veterans Day. It's not Memorial Day. I need help. You find that at VetConnectPRO. So I'll be around to answer any questions, but please, it's very simple. It's, what was it? nyc.gov/VetConnectPRO is the URL. Create your profile. Any of the contact forms that are on there, we're the ones answering questions. We have a team of people answering questions. So we're there to help and support. But I encourage you guys all to get involved. The city's really being proactive. I know a lot of times it's frustrating because you hear about these programs and it's like, oh, here goes another one of these, right? Is this one gonna be real? But this city is really proactive. They're being serious about it. The mayor's being serious, the commissioner's being serious, and they're bringing in tools that most other places don't invest in. They don't invest in this type of technology. They're just good enough with, hey, we're holding a resume fair. Guys, come down on Tuesday. That's good enough. But they're really investing in your future. So I encourage you all to be a part of this, to register, and we'll be around to answer any questions. Thank you.
Yeah, again, I'm just so impressed with your site and just delighted to be able to partner with you. So anybody wants to follow up with